So if Comptroller Tom DiNapoli has had his issues with Andrew Cuomo, he certainly didn't want to air them at the convention here at day one, and neither did Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, who was also renominated today. By all accounts, Schneiderman has had a bigger gulf between himself and Andrew Cuomo, both on policy issues, but also on issues related to power. After all, Andrew Cuomo is a former Attorney General himself. He knows the political power that can come from that position. Those are two of the topics that I spoke with the Attorney General about earlier. Attorney General Eric Schneiderman joining us now. Congratulations on your renomination.
Thank you very much. Very glad to be here.
Why do you think that you're the guy on the statewide ticket who the Republican Party seems to have targeted the most for defeat this November?
Well, we'll see what happens as we get towards the fall. I'm proud of the fact that we're getting their attention because we've shown national leadership in going after big financial institutions, corrupt politicians. My office stands very clearly for one set of rules for everyone, and I'm not sure the other side of the aisle always sees it that way. They don't really want one set of rules for the LGBT community, for women, for immigrant communities, and I'm proud to stand up for regular middle-class working families in New York all the time, fight to raise the minimum wage, fight to get workers the minimum wage that they're entitled to, and if that gets their attention to the other side of the aisle, good for them.
There is a fundraiser who is raising money for Governor Cuomo and for your opponent this fall. There's been some discussion about the nature of your relationship with Governor Cuomo. How is your relationship? Do you feel like it is at any point at arm's length?
Well, we can't be at arm's length. I'm his lawyer. The lawyers in my office interact with the people who work for his agencies every day, maybe dozens of times a day. So we work very closely together. We've known each other since 1982, when I volunteered on his father's first winning campaign for governor and met him. We have a great relationship, and you're going to see that this fall as we campaign together.
And finally, this person in your position in years past has been called the Sheriff of Wall Street and other names like that. You've gone after the banks when it comes to foreclosures, but some would say not to the same degree that some of your predecessors have. How would you respond to that, and is there more that you think you can do to help regulate Wall Street?
Well, for the first time in American history, the President of the United States set up a working group to go after financial misconduct and made me the chair of the working group. We just got the largest settlement in the history of the United States, $13 billion from J.P. Chase. So I'm very proud of the work that our office has done, and I think that people, as they look at the record and actually get their facts straight, are going to see what fine work my lawyers have done in this area.
Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, thanks very much.
Thank you.
And then there is former Governor David Paterson, who has talked publicly about the issues that he's had with Governor Andrew Cuomo. Nobody was happier to be seen at the Democratic convention today than David Paterson, taking over his new position as chairman of the state Democratic Party. We asked him about that transition very briefly this morning.
I'm actually very excited. I think that the chairman of the parties are very integral to the process. I think they're not always utilized properly, but the governor, when I went to the MTA board, I thought I'd just sit there and, watch the process. Next thing I know, he had me right in the middle of it, so I'm sure he'll have me right in the middle of it.
So some surprises on day one of the Democratic convention, but certainly none of the airing of dirty laundry that fans of politics or people who wonder about Andrew Cuomo might have been hoping for. Then again, that's really what you expected at a convention like this, everybody coming together and sort of picking up the banner and singing Kumbaya. We're going to have a little more analysis from the convention site in just in our next segment, but for now, we're live here at the site of the Democratic State Convention on Long Island. Rich, let's send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Andrew, check back with you in a little bit. Let me bring in Dominic Carter, obviously a political journalist, author here. And let's read between the lines here a little bit. Mr. DiNapoli and Mr. Schneiderman may not have loved the questions, but I thought all completely fair by Andrew. It's an open secret that they don't have the best relationships with the governor. The governor's made sure of that.
You're being nice right now.
Right. To that end, let's first start with David Paterson. 4 years ago, the idea that he'd run the state party at the behest of Governor Cuomo would have been inconceivable. He wanted to stay on as governor, but Cuomo said, there's a primary coming, pal. I got more friends, more money. You're going to lose. He, in effect, made Paterson step aside. And now Paterson's working for him. It's interesting how times change.
It's very interesting how times have changed. For David Paterson, this is about redeeming his image. His marriage is over. He went through a rocky marriage while he was the governor. Lord knows, Richard, there were a number of headlines that came out about this governor, drug use and so on. So he gets to redeem his image. But more importantly, for the current occupant of the governor's mansion, it's all about Andrew Cuomo doesn't want the Sharptons of the world screaming bloody murder tomorrow.
Because he didn't pick a minority lieutenant governor.
Right. He didn't go with the mayor of Buffalo. And so the Republicans have an African-American number 2 on their ticket. The Democrats don't. So to, if you will, please the minority community and a sizable portion of the Democratic base, you make Paterson the head of the Democratic Party.
We both know that Eric Schneiderman and Mr. DiNapoli aren't going to be having, cocktails with the governor anytime soon. It's a complicated thing that we can't do in 2 minutes, Dominic. But they got no other choice here. They got to play nice, right?
They got to play nice. It's the name of the game. You act like there's not any problem. The fact of the matter is they do not like the governor. It's apparent the governor does not like them. He does not play well when it comes to sharing with others. He likes to call the shots. That does not sit well for independently elected officials on the other extreme. But if I were Mr. Schneiderman, I would be very careful. He's below the 50% threshold that's safe for incumbents. And
he's got the strongest general election challenger because John Cahill, friend to this show, he's a sharp cook, and he can give a real run for the money.
Cahill may not have the greatest personality in the world, but he's only 20 points behind, and you have a governor that may be saying to the electorate, wink, wink, I know he's a Republican, but I like this guy.
Plus, he's got Ola Pataki's guy as his former chief of staff, and former governor.
That's right.
He does have some institutional base to work off of. Okay, when we come back, we're going to have more here from the convention. We're going to have a little backroom analysis. Now, we gave you the numbers, but the fascinating thing that I know Andrew's going to get into after the break is if the left wing of the party says, you know what, let's throw another guy, a monkey wrench in this, and go with the Working Families Party, all of a sudden, that 30-point spread gets a whole lot closer here. We'll have convention conversation with Capitol's Bureau Chief up in Albany, Jimmy Vielkind, after this. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back.